It's the Whiskey Wizard.
Hello and welcome to the Whiskey Wizard, where we say that whiskey making takes scientific knowledge, an artisan's skill and dedication, and a bit of the wizard's alchemy of light, air, earth, and fire. Last time we talked about single barrel whiskey. This time we're talking about a special type of single barrel whiskey, barrel picks. The continued demand for so-called barrel picks, where bars or retailers purchase all the bottles from a single cask and sell them as an exclusive offering, will hardly be unfamiliar to most of our audience. Though they've existed for some time now, only in recent years have private barrel selections crossed into the mainstream and become perhaps the most sought-after products for consumers and retailers. One of the reasons for bourbon's renaissance was the rise of single-barreled small-batch whiskeys. Eric Gregory, president of the Kentucky Distillers Association, tells us, barrel picks fit in with that hand in glove, he says. For distilleries, offering barrel picks provides a great way to foster consumer relationships. For many whiskey fans, they promise affordable exclusivity in a time where so many are hunting those unicorns. While single-barrel bourbons have been popular for decades, only in recent years have distilleries fully embraced the practice of letting their trade customers be the ones who select which barrels are bottled and sold without blending. Buyers for those barrels range from distributors and retailers, bar and restaurant owners, to groups of average Joe whiskey aficionados like our own Cleveland Bourbon Co-op. Once the buyer decides on their favorite sample, they are committing to purchase the entire barrel. Of course, because of U.S. liquor laws, no one just walks out with a barrel of whiskey. Instead, the distillery bottles the entire barrel's worth of whiskey, adds a special label or tag to each bottle. And it's that simple sticker that is important to the recipient. They can point to them and say, hey, I had a hand in creating this product. For general consumers, they feel good that they are holding on to a totally unique product, well, at least one of a 200 or so products. As we discussed last time on single barrel whiskey, scarcity plays upon all those things that the current whiskey world craves. It seems collectability has driven a lot of sales and created a lot of interest in recent years. The practice of selecting individual barrels to bottle is much older than most people realize, though. In the 1950s, the late George Garvin Brown II introduced a new Old Forester expression called President's Choice, an early precursor to modern-day barrel picks, where Garvin Brown would hand-select standout barrels for the exclusive line. Other distilleries soon followed suit when they realized just how much certain hotels and retailers were excited to offer something their competitors didn't have. And distilleries then realized it made sense to bring the process to their properties. It will allow them to drive up even more excitement in the program. Today, the distillery experience affords brands the chance to remain competitive, and these days practically all the major players offer some form of barrel picks. Maker's Mark Barrel Program is one of the most exclusive experiences. In their case, buyers taste the distillery proprietary yeast, taste the whiskey fresh off the still, and taste the influence of barrels, time, and maturation. The program then sees them not buy select barrels, but has them create and fill their own. Maker's Mark has pioneered a stave finishing process whereby cask strength whiskey, usually around 6.5 years old, finishes with its aging period in a barrel with profile altering staves. With 5 staves to choose from and 10 slots in the barrel, there are over 1,000 flavor combinations according to their chief operating officer, Rob Samuels. To determine the final composition of their barrel, groups are given 10 milliliter samples of whiskey finished with each stave and then compile their potential blends. Then Samuel says each whiskey rests for a final 9 weeks before it is bottled by the distillery and sent off. I guess the way they manage barrel production must be unique. meaning they select the same origin staves for barrel production as opposed to a random assembly of staves from varying oak sources. Apparently, buyers of Whistle Pig Reserve barrel programs stay at the Vermont Distillery's on-site farmhouse, which offers a game room, 2 bars, a private chef, and enough rye whiskey to sink a ship. Four Roses also has a unique barrel pick program that takes advantage of the fact that they have 10 different recipes made by combining 5 yeast strains with 2 different mash bills. After everyone in the group comes to an agreement, the process almost turns into a ceremony. Someone hammers a bung back into the barrel, it's rolled over to the door of the bottling facility where the purchasing information is written on the barrel head. Everyone involved signs the barrel head and then poses for pictures with their selection. With barrels yielding up to 250 bottles, each pick becomes its own hyped, exclusive commodity. Often a simple bottle label denoting such rarity is not enough for whiskey groups and societies. In certain groups and retailers, they sell their picks with an additional personalized label, which consumers can attach to the bottles if they desire. Look, American whiskeys have never been more popular than they are right now, and we know that people, current company included, travel to buy whiskey and seek private barrel selections offered via retail. I think barrel picks are a very cool way to simply enjoy another facet of whiskey exclusivity. Although I've not yet been involved in a barrel pick process, that is certainly something I look forward to someday. One thing I should mention, barrel picks are almost completely dependent upon the distillery as far as which barrels they offer for picking. While it makes sense, it's their product, still, you can only pick the best barrels from those that are offered. I guess Maker's Mark would be the exception since you pick staves to create a certain profile and not the barrel itself. Barrel picks are a really popular aspect of today's whiskey collection and appreciation. So go ahead and start picking and check out our own Cleveland Bourbon Co-op if you are in Northeast Ohio, where you can get in on some of the group's own great barrel selections. Well, that's about it for this edition. Look for the live Friday Whiskey Roundtable show at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube page with a link to the show also on our Facebook page. Make sure to catch me, Doug Dunbar, with the rest of the Whiskey Roundtable crew again this Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Until then, cheers, slanjava, and remember, think responsibly. Oh my.